Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Growthium Capital's annual general meeting for 2024. I'm Katrina. I'm from the Growthium Investments team, and I'll be your MC for this evening. So just looking around the room, we have over 70 companies represented here today. So we're so excited and grateful to have all of you guys just grace us with your presence. And hopefully between the enjoyable company and the insightful discussions we'll be having, and if really nothing else, at least the good food, then we hope this event will leave you with something valuable to take home tonight. And before anything else, I'd like to ask somebody to come to the stage to properly kick things off. And let me tell you something. The first thing I learned in Growthium was we're not allowed to use terms like CEO or founder or boss. So maybe I should instead say, please welcome to the stage the first employee of Growthium Capital, Amit. A round of applause, please.
Okay, standing here is a bit daunting compared to sitting amongst you. But again, thanks everyone for taking time today to join us on this occasion. As was asked a couple of times, so this is our first AGM, second symposium, and we are in third year of since incorporation. So we started in September of 2021. So again, very, very early start, but much grateful for support of all of you. Amongst all of you, we have our current companies, past companies, future partners, current LPs, future LPs, I would like to think, unless we do something wrong here. So again, very grateful for your presence. We chose this title. Actually, there was quite a lot of brainstorming that is this title good enough or this is what we intend to do? Because it also has a risk of looking too obvious and too salesy. But probably this is something we aspire to do, and if we don't, then I can tell you the outcome of Growthium will not be as we all aspire to be. So at the end of the day, we want to have very deep partnership. Value creation was a word that we resisted using. It has been used and abused quite a few times. But at the end of the day, you have to create a national champion. Regional champions is a word we debated, but we have not been successful in doing so. So it's still a mountain for us to climb. So, and I have just 8-9 pages here and wanted to keep it simple considering also my background where I come from. So the first object, and it's a very black and white at Growthium, and hopefully that is how you guys think as well. So the first objective, the vision is to be a credible partner. Only two constituents. To our portfolio companies so that you look at us as the only source of capital that can meet your objective in terms of what you are planning to achieve. And the second one is to our shareholders or the LPs to deliver a consistent top quartile returns in that manner. Then the question is how to do it. So again, go back to basic. We can't control the market, can't control multiples. So at the end of the day, as long as we deliver growth in operating and financial metric, we should be okay. Again, it has worked for 35 companies in the past, so no reason it should not work going forward. The second point is courtesy to one of my ex-colleague, learned the beta alpha from him. But the point is that we are not good at beta and we are not set up to deliver beta in the sector. So the aim is to hopefully leverage the beta in that subsector, but to deliver the alpha that would be accretive to us. The last part, hopefully this last few years has been important to all of you in the room, that at the end of the day, there should not be a disconnect between the value created at the company and the markup and what you see in distribution. So if there is a value created, and this is where we put and as a separate line, that it has to be transferred back to the LP through timely distribution in an accretive manner. So this one I have talked through, so I can skip through this page quickly. But this is, in a summary, summarizes the objective. So the aim is to create the champion. And if we do create such a champion, then we should have the option to present that story in an IPO or strategic sale. The logos, and quite a few of those logos are represented here. So when we partner, and I'm speaking to all the companies in the room, we should all be prepared to run faster. Because if we don't, that objective will not be achieved. So allow us to push you, because failing is not an option. Even if you want, we will not let you. So, because the whole objective of us partnering together is the left side, and the right side is implied. Feeling like a pitch presentation, but probably in the first AGM it should be okay. Okay, this is probably a little relevant for people who are less familiar with the region, that the buyout opportunities are very limited and are challenging also because each market is very different. And for us to do a proper job as a buyout shop, you need 100-member team. And even then, there is no likelihood of succeeding. Growth is also volatile. So you need to, and this is where we say that you need to have a crossover fund so that your value creation, the entrenched partnership that we talked about, it allows you to add that value that the company needs, even in a minority setup, but in those situations as a majority operating partner as required. So for companies which just offer us operational efficiency, that won't qualify. You need to have a blend of operational efficiency and growth for us to be able to meet the returns that we are targeting. As you see, I keep on talking about companies and returns. Probably it also drives a lot of honesty in us. It's very easy to build a business that never gets built after 20 years. It's very easy to also target returns and destroy value at the companies you partner with, and there is no repeat business. So that blend has to be very much there, and it will keep us on the right path. And that goes to the tagline that is there in Growthium's name, which is, so this is the best we could do in September of 2021, where me and a couple of my colleagues were sitting in a shared office, and we're like, what should the company be called? Should be one of the stars or the moons or three-letter word or AK Capital? They said, probably we should think it from the perspective of the company. So we got a mix of those bold letters that you see there, that we want to be driver of enduring growth momentum. And there was no better way to combine the words, so that's how the name Growthium came into being. So we have 5 companies in the portfolio right now: a digital bank, a e-grocery, a milk dairy company, a hospital, and a yogurt company. And the tick boxes, at least from our perspective, do indicate that what I just talked about in the past few pages is getting repeated in the 5 companies that chose us as partners. And later throughout the day, throughout the evening, we'll share with you that in a market which is a little bit volatile, but the performance of each of those 5 companies have been quite decent. Very early start, long way to go, but thank you to the management and the shareholders of those companies for allowing us to work with you to get ourselves on a good start. So this is a common question, that exit in Southeast Asia is tricky. And the answer is definitely 100% yes. But we have also seen the beta playing out in China. You are seeing the beta playing out in India. And I don't know, as a PE investor, how comfortable are we to underwrite such an event continuing over the 5 to 10 year of investment period. So the purpose of this slide was just to demonstrate that if we do whatever we talked about just now, then there will be a demand for companies which are scarce, which have good management team, which are enduring in their growth, and which can promise you a performance year after year. And that is demonstrated we just selected 6 companies. Lot of efforts also went from the company itself, but since it's a Growthium event, we'll take all the credit. But it's quite rare to see that almost all the largest IPO and exit in Southeast Asia market comes under one common ownership. So as long as we stay to that vision, it is very much possible in that regard. Okay, this is an interesting page. As you look through this page, you will have different, I hope that you will have different thoughts. Maybe a common thought would be, damn, this is a very expensive team, man, based on the logos of where it is coming. That's true. And we all continuously have that discussion. The other part also would be that if I have $1 of capital to give it to Growthium, I will not give it to a 1-person, 2-person team of 5 or 6. If you are talking about whatever you are trying to do, it requires experience, it requires people who have done it before, people have to be unified in purpose. So, and we also put the country's logos in there. And as you will speak here through the presentation, I talk so differently with my accent. You will see with all our team members and colleagues, very different. But we are unified, as I say in the title, for one common purpose, to do good for the companies that we partner in. I also want to say something, since it's a closed door session, that there is no KPI in our fund or for our team for fundraising. No KPI for wining dining. Our OP in 3 years of existence is 0. Literally 0. Plain vanilla, go on the ground. You have to work hard to do what the company needs to do. We will do everything possible to stop, myself included, from converting investors into salesmen. That's the risk we have seen, and that's what we'll not allow at Growthium to happen. If you are an investor, you have to execute. You have to attend all meetings, not the first and the last meeting in that regard, and you have to be aware of each and every intricacies of the deal and be prepared to be deal captain if such a situation arises. That is one thing I can promise to myself, to my team, and to all of you concerned here. Always when I see a couple of bullets on this page, there is a feeling of pride that does associate with the 567 number, and we did not plan 567, but you can agree that it's an easy to remember number. So we stopped. We said we'll not make it 777. But the point is that it also gives us enthusiasm and confidence and faith. When I mentioned about fundraising, avoiding being salesmen, because it was a first-time fund, COVID, denominator, we don't know you. If I bring you to IC, I'll lose my job. Who are you? What have you done? What's your track record? How much of what the team was? All are fair questions, right? If this could be done in that setup, we just need to do the same. We just need to keep executing, and there will be enough support from all and sundry in this room to allow us to do this business. So that's where we take the comfort here. For most of you, I guess you are aware, but I should say that this is the largest ever debut fund raised for South Asia, which in the last couple of years, I don't need to preach to the choir, was very difficult. The last one was raised in India, which was Kedara Capital in around 10 years ago. And all our LPs are anchor LPs, but we don't have a designated anchor LP in that setup. We learned from, again, our past experience at our past fund that concentration is the key, but that should not eliminate the word diversification. So that's where we put 3 diversification, which is very important to us. Our first investment happened in January of 2022. We are in our 3rd year, and that's how you see the allocated capital. We are 45% deployed, and between the geography and the sector and the vintage, we will continue to attest to that. Even though it's a bottoms-up business model, but no one can ignore the benefit that comes with the diversification. Our first 2 deals are from a gentleman that we have known for years, so thank you again. It will always be in our memory. Next one. I think I'm going to finish. If not, they'll kick me out. No, I meant the next page. Okay, you like all this, right? So there is some tech thing that we can do. So anyway, this is the last page. We put it in the order of importance that we see. So everything for us flows from the company. So that's why portfolio companies is right at the top. Please continue to accept us as your partner, but we will also have a requirement. You have to be able to run hard. You have to give us a good, decent business platform to execute, proper management team, and be prepared that the next journey is going to be a fast journey. So as not all partners will qualify for you, not all companies will similarly qualify for us. Team and our TAP panel are, which will help us in sourcing, execution, monitoring. So again, very key pillar, and nothing goes without our limited partners. We need capital to deploy. So all of you are very well represented in this room. Thank you again for supporting Growthium. Thank you on behalf of the team, and We hope that whatever we have said and will continue to say throughout this evening today will meet it. Any day, we want to be known on a deal by deal, and that's why the title is very important there. We had always that one question, what keeps you awake? I think probably we have moved a little bit away from that. What keeps us aware in the day as well? And that's why the title is appropriate of what we are trying to do till we have achieved the business plan, distributed the money back to the LPs. Everything and anything can go wrong, which is possible as where we are. So probably the title reflects as what we are trying to do. Paranoia is very high in the team, but we hope that it leads to excellence rather than desperation. Thank you again. I hope you have a good evening, but on behalf of Growthium, I again want to say that we would not be here without all of you helping us with whatever we have achieved, our pages, our presentation, your capital. People who missed out, will give them a chance in fund too. But overall, thank you again for your support and your help. And we have really worked to make this evening worthwhile. You are all connected to us. Most of you are our shareholders. We will use your 3.5 hours very properly to hope that you take away something that is relevant in your day-to-day work. Thank you again.
Thank you, Amit, for that. And I'm sure all of you guys can agree whether or not the firm was called Growthium or AK Capital. In the 3 years since its operations, the platform and the team has grown. And it's thanks to everybody's support and working together here in this room today. So can we have another round of applause for Amit, please? Thank you. So as you've heard, and will probably continue to hear throughout the course of the night, value creation, portfolio management, and a bottoms-up approach will continue to be at the heart of what we do at the firm here at Growthium. So it was important for us then to structure the event in a way that reflected that. Not another maybe like macro update, because that's what your Bloomberg subscription is for, but deep diving into trends and dynamics in our part of the world that we felt would be relevant to you guys as an audience. So what do we have in store for you today? Our first panel is going to be focused on the consumer sector, zooming in on the changing dynamics of the staples segment. And more importantly, how a brand can cope with and even benefit from such an environment. Our second panel, on the other hand, will focus on the healthcare sector, and it aims to tackle the issue of striking a balance between quality healthcare delivery and business building, and whether this is a profitable and sustainable proposition. And to ground these discussions even further, we'll also be hearing from our portfolio companies along the way. So last point, very important, because tonight's theme involves entrenched partnerships, we also want some audience participation. So you will notice on your desk, on your tables, a little menu with a QR code. And while Amit did say pure tech is not a key focus area of Growthium, in truly tech-enabled fashion, we highly encourage all of you guys to submit your questions to the consumer and healthcare panels through the Pigeonhole platform via that QR code link. So, all right, we've got some ground to cover, so why don't we get started? We'll begin the first segment with updates from our consumer portfolio companies, International Dairy Products from Vietnam and Kin Dairy from Indonesia. So please help me welcome the first speaker of the evening, a managing director from Growthium Capital and presenting for IDP. A round of applause for Chang.
Hi, a very good evening to all of you. It's very daunting to speak after Amit, but I'll try. So on IDP, this is our maiden investment from the fund in Vietnam. IDP is actually a challenger in a fairly established industry, dairy industry in Vietnam that is dominated by a number of large incumbents. But over the past few years, the company has clocked one of the highest growth rate amongst consumer companies in Vietnam at 20% revenue CAGR. And last year, we recorded about 270 million in net revenue and a healthy and growing EBITDA margin. And the company has also clinched strong market share leadership in a couple of categories, of which juice milk is actually a category that the company created. And today, we still we still occupied about 70%, a whopping 70% market share in this category. So what has allowed the company to get here and where we are heading towards? A couple of slides, I'm going to share a bit more about that. So first of all, the company builds its competitive moat by owning majority part of the value chain. Starting with raw material procurement, we have exclusive access to a number of sources of highest quality milk in the country. We run and operate our own factories, 2 factories in Vietnam, North and South, and a 3rd factory coming online to double our existing capacity. We deploy our own direct sales force on the ground, which is extremely important to take full control of distribution into both modern trade as well as traditional trade. And the network of distribution here, the distribution network that you see here on the screen is nationwide and is still growing because we are still under-penetrated in quite a number of areas. The ability to control the distribution is also very important because that allows us a full control of sales operation in store, branding visibility, as well as branding consistency. And coupled with innovative marketing, the leading brand of the company, which is Kun, target the kids aged 3 to 10 years old, has a very high brand awareness of. So Kun has a very high brand awareness of 98% amongst children, and we are neck to neck with Milo in terms of brand love amongst the kids. So secondly, in terms of product portfolio, we offer a variety of nutritional benefits, functional benefits, which is very important to the moms. So juice milk is an immunity-enhancing product. UHT milk is calcium, gives calcium benefit. Chalk malt gives energy. Postbiotics is for gut health. And we produce all these products with a quality promise of 3 no's. But what makes Kun really special is that it also connects with the other stakeholder of the products, which is the kids. They are actually the end consumer of our products. And we do that through giving the kids an element of fun through curated digital content. And that is an aspect that was missing by most of the traditional incumbent brands. And that has really helped Kun to gain a huge mind share amongst the children. I'm not sure how many parents here actually face a situation where you want to buy a certain brand for your kids, but they actually want something else. And that's exactly the kind of consumer psychology that Kun has been able to leverage on. So this video is slightly dated, but I'm just going to play it to give you a flavor of some color behind the kind of content that the company creates for the children. Digital marketing, digital channels have been bread and butter of IDP's marketing engine, and that allowed the brand to build a very high share of voice in an industry otherwise dominated by giants with much larger marketing budget. And what is worth highlighting is IDP has an in-house content creation team to allow for full control and agility of repurposing this content for different platforms and markets, i.e. languages. And we can also track the user interaction to adapt for future campaigns. We also engage with the kids on offline events and build a clear brand purpose with them through promoting good social values. And the brand portfolio is growing with Love Manto. This is a new brand that we launched to target the teens and the Gen Z. Looks cute. And also 2 brands to target the adults. And leveraging the same playbook in Vietnam, IDP has started making its foray into international markets. We clinched number 2 position in Cambodia in the last 2 years. And along with our presence in China, exports today account for 14% of revenue. So this slide, I'm just going to give a quick recap of what we achieved in 2023. It was a fairly subdued consumer spending sentiment in Vietnam last year. But IDP came out recording close to 10% top-line growth, and that put us as an outperformer in the consumer industry. All this was achieved on the back of a couple of initiatives. We debottlenecked the manufacturing capacity constraint for a couple of lines where products were out of stock. We also continued to enhance our distribution reach in a couple of areas in Vietnam, like in South Vietnam, where there's still a lot of headroom for further penetration. And deepen that penetration, meaning our market share in store across GT and MT. The brand portfolio is expanding with Love Manto, with Bavi, and with Love to target new customer segments. And with all that new brand portfolio, new brands being added to the portfolio, we strengthen the cross-selling so that we enhance the productivity of the sales staff. And on the back of that revenue growth, we continue to strengthen our market share, increasing our market share, and maintain our number 1 market share in juice milk, number 2 in malt drink, and number 3 in yogurt milk. In terms of profitability, there was also an improvement as we benefit from generally lower raw material costs in 2023 and a couple of initiatives to further optimize the SKU portfolio to make room for new products. 2024 is looking to be an exciting year with various initiatives underway. We continue to double down on product innovation. We have launched about 4 additional categories this year, or I would say adjacencies. And Sang, who is the CEO of IDP, sitting there, probably would not let me disclose the exciting pipeline we have for the second half. And all that also with international expansion into neighboring markets. We continue at the same time to strengthen our operational efficiency, supply chain, sales staff productivity, in-store execution, and a third factory coming online will double our capacity and allow us to also produce a new range of products. And with all this in place, we set a good enough target of 17 to 20% top line growth for 2024, and we hope to see you next year to see where we land. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chang, for that update on IDP. Now let's hear from a principal at Growthium Capital, Viet, to present insights instead on Kin Dairy. Viet? Can we encourage him with a round of applause? Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Katrina, and good evening to everyone. Thanks for being here. Despite the rain, for 1 second I thought "Make It Rain" would have made a better subtitle for our events, but it's too late to reprint the banner. Anyways, my name is Viet. I'm a principal at Growthium Capital, and it's my pleasure to present our updates on Kin Dairy, which is an investment we made in September 2023, just a few months back. At a glance, Kin Dairy is a vertically integrated dairy producer based out of Indonesia. On the upstream, we owns and operates the second largest dairy farm in the country. It is also the only pure A2 cow farm in Southeast Asia. And for those who are health conscious, like myself, A2 protein is a rarer, purer form of milk protein. And unlike the A1 protein, which is more commonly found in milk, A2 protein is closer to human milk and therefore less likely to cause bloatedness and rashes, commonly mistaken for lactose intolerance. Notably, this A2 milk has taken off tremendously in China and also in Australia, and has been at the forefront of innovation in dairy products. And here we are, we have managed to bring A2 milk into Indonesia. The farm has about 4,000 cows today and is expanding. On the downstream, we manufacture and sell a variety of drinking yogurt and liquid milk products. As of fiscal year 23, we are number 2 brand in drinking yogurt with a market share of over 20%. And we were the first to launch yogurt in the stick format, which has become quite a phenomenon if you've been to Indonesia. This is interesting. Our investment in Kin capitalizes on the attractive fundamentals of Indonesian dairy industry. Now, amongst the Southeast Asian country, Indonesia has the second lowest consumption per capita for liquid milk and the lowest consumption per capita for yogurt. Notwithstanding the low penetration, liquid milk is still a very sizable market of $2.1 billion in retail sales value, growing at 9% CAGR, and yogurt is a $700 million market, growing at 17% CAGR, thanks to a very large population in the country. if you've been following the election, what we believe to be a chronically underserved category, milk has become the centerpiece for the president-elect's policy platform. Prabowo will start his office later this year and has pledged to provide free lunches, including free milk, to almost 80 million school children. Now, this has certainly brought the importance of milk consumption to the fore and believed by most to deliver tremendously positive impact on the dairy industry writ large. With all that said, we believe Kin to have the competitive advantage to benefit from this very interesting development and high growth industry. And that competitive advantage is a secure supply of very high quality milk. Some interesting statistics over here. 80% of Indonesian cow milk is sourced overseas, mostly in the form of milk powder, and therefore not comparable in terms of quality compared to fresh milk. Of the 20% of milk that is sourced locally, 73% are from smallholder farms, and therefore with subpar biosecurity standards, and therefore susceptible to diseases like what we have seen in 2022, foot-mouth disease epidemic, wiping out 1/3 of the local herd. And Kin very proudly was one of the only two unscathed by the epidemic. Shortly after we closed the transaction, we rallied the team and launched a rebranding campaign called Snackin. Now, I found out this morning that Trang decided to show an advertisement, and so I felt compelled to show one too. And here we go.
Kin! Yeah.
Fun fact, amongst the key decision maker for the cash selection and also the costume was Amit. Boy, I could tell we had so much fun. Anyways, back to the serious stuff. The key tenet of the campaign were twofold. Number one, we crystallized our focus on Gen Z and millennials as our core consumer. And number two, we target this group of consumers by pivoting courageously away from functional benefits and towards indulgence and lifestyle. And the campaign has bear early results. We closed 2023 strongly, up 39% year on year on the downstream branded product sales, and up 29% year on year for the upstream business, driven by growth in our cow population, our yield. By the way, our yield is one of the highest in Asia Pacific, approaching 35 now, and also growth in the pricing of milk. Looking ahead, 2024, we had a full agenda. We wanted to continue building a strong foundation for long-term growth of our business, and this strong foundation run across the value chain. Brand and marketing, the Snackin campaign will continue to run for the rest of 2024 with an ambitious goal of doubling our unaided awareness. In terms of manufacturing and upstream, we are adding more cows, more barns, adding more production line, all to meet the market demand of our products. Sales, we continue to strengthen our footholds across different channels, particularly GT and exports. R&D, new products are underway. We want to keep our bar very high, staying true to our first, different, unique, or FDU mantra. Now, of course, the whole value chain has to work together to bring our product all the way from our farm to our manufacturing facilities, to distributors, to retailers, and ultimately to our consumers. And hence, we recognize the critical importance of having a strong team, robust internal process, as well as IT infrastructure. And this is something we'll continue to work on in 2024. With help of support of Growth EM Capital team, Kin appointed a number of senior management positions in late 2023. We now have a full team working hard, working passionately, along with the shareholders. Warren is sitting down there. Thanks for coming, Warren, who's the promoter of the company, to deliver on a ambitious but necessary agenda for 2024. And with that, I conclude my presentation, and thank you for your attention. We shall now move to the consumer panel, where we discuss the tectonic shifts in the consumer segment in Southeast Asia. And I'd like to invite to the stage our panelists, Warren Chu, Sang, and Trang. All right, hi everyone again, and welcome to our discussion. I'd like to welcome our panelists as well. Next to me is Warren Chu. Warren Chu is the President Director of Kin Dairy, Director at ABC President Indonesia. Warren represents ABC Group, one of Indonesia's largest conglomerates focused on consumer segment. A business owner by day and a fervent golfer by night. Warren has become a great partner and a friend to Growthium Capital as we embark on our investment at Kin Dairy. Thanks for being here, Warren. And next to Warren is Sang. Sang is CEO of IDP Vietnam, a veteran in the FMCG industry for over 25 years across MNCs and local companies including Colgate, SC Johnson, Kimberly-Clark, Tân Hiệp Phát, and Nutifood in Vietnam. Sang is taking on the mantle of driving our value creation plans at IDP to bring the company to the next phase of growth. And last but definitely not least, Trang, our very own managing director, who is no stranger in the private equity and venture capital scene in Southeast Asia. Prior to joining Growthium, Trang worked at B Capital, Temasek, and Abraj. Trang, gentlemen, thank you for being here. A round of applause to welcome our panelists, please. A few data points to get us started. What you're seeing on the screen is a very challenging year for consumer businesses in Southeast Asia in 2023. In Indonesia, overall FMCG recorded no growth compared to a year ago on volume basis, and value growth of 4% is driven primarily by inflation, which is running high. In Vietnam, the picture is even bleaker. The second half of 2023 saw a value decline of 3%, and the decline seems to continue in the first quarter of 2024. Now, the traditional wisdom is that staples is supposed to be more defensible in a down cycle. What is very interesting, as you're seeing on the screen, is that the latest data is showing quite a diverging trend. If someone could help show the chart on the screen over here as well, that would be great. Thank you. Discretionary, such as beauty, is showing a sustained growth of 15%, while staples, including food and beverage, have been a lot more subdued. So the questions that we are tackling as a panel over here is why it is happening. And if you all agree with me, we will dissect this data by going through the value chain of a consumer business. We'll go from consumer segmentation to distribution channel, and last but not least, to innovations. In each of these aspects, let's see the drivers behind these diverging trend, and more importantly, how our businesses can capitalize on this uncertain time to not just survive, but even prosper. Let's take a look first at the consumer angle, consumer segmentation angle. There we go. This is where we start to see some very interesting phenomenon, and this phenomenon is called Gen Z and millennials, defined as consumers who are 35 years old and below as of today. This group of consumers account for 26% of FMCG sales in 2023, but a staggering 62% in value growth. So I want to go to Trang if I could first. Clearly, the emergence of Gen Z and millennials have been shaping the consumption pattern like nothing we have seen before. What do we know about this group of consumers? And from your perspective, how do you assess a brand for the potential to resonate with this group of consumers?
Yeah, so I think typically when we look at assessing the potential of a brand, there's one common framework, common wisdom that we look at, which is we call the brand conversion funnel, right? And to work this brand conversion funnel, there are a few behaviors about Gen Z and millennials that potentially will change how a brand needs to react to move them through the conversion funnel, which we know which starts with providing them, reaching out to them, raising awareness, and then moving them to try the products, and then moving them to buy it frequently, and then become the brand most often used by them. And so I think I would just highlight maybe three aspects about Gen Z, which I think have a very strong implications to how brands need to react to move them through this conversion funnel. So number one is social media is home of Gen Z. So therefore, as a brand, it becomes imperative to have a strong share of voice on digital channels. But which digital channels, which platforms? And that is where we need to understand that Gen Z love visual content. So perhaps TikTok, YouTube, Instagram have been the beneficiaries. And having a strong share of voice in these platforms is first thing I want to highlight is very important. And then that's to raise awareness. How do you move them to try your products? Because of the heavy use of social media, the changing sources of influence of this group of consumers, meaning they don't like ads, they like subtle peer referencing. The values, how they perceive the values of a product is also changing. They don't just look for products that have utility, functional benefits. Those anyway are hygiene factors that any brand, any product has to provide. But they also look for convenience, sustainability. They look for guilt-free indulgence. They look for things that they can shout to their friends, things that make them feel good, right? And so a product and a brand has to connect with them from that perspective. So that's number two. The expectation about brand and product has increased significantly from what we know before. And then I think the hardest part of the conversion funnel for this group is actually to make them buy frequently and to buy most often, because Gen Z are not known to be loyal. They like to try new products, they like to try new things, but it can also work in our favor as a brand owner that if you keep innovating and if you keep introducing new products, new variants, and keep them excited about the brand, then they actually will advocate the brand because they love to, express themselves, hashtag this and that. I even learned this thing recently, which is Gen Z is known to be dupe generation. And dupe, just so that some of you, in case you don't know, is duplicates. So buying knockoff product is something that has been all-ish long, but now they even love to tell their friends that they are buying duplicates. The point I'm trying to drive is that if they buy into something, they will advocate it. And so they become your brand advocates. So I guess those are the three things that, constant innovation to keep that lifetime value of these Gen Z customers long with you. And then, the last part about making them buying more often is probably also got to do with making sure that you are present in every channel that they shop.
One interesting fact is that amongst the Gen Z and millennials, the top 5 expanding categories are, and you would not have guessed this, 1 is sunblock, 2, hair treatment, 3, canned food and sausages, 4, frozen food, and last but not least, number 5, herbs and spices. Clearly, the trend in beauty that we're seeing is really driven by the emergence of this group of consumers. I want to go to Sang. Kun has the dominant share of 70% market share in kids' juice milk. Here you have a very unique and also complex consumer journey, right? Because this product is for kids. So the kids will, as we understand, voice their desire, but then the mom would then have to endorse and buy it. How has it been trying to sell or creating a brand that speaks to both kids and moms for you? And mind you, a lot of the moms, more and more of these moms are the millennials that we're talking about.
So that is the big challenge if you want to talk two of them. You want to talk to kids and also you want to talk to mom. But in IDP, we think that we keep in talking to the kids because the kids play a very important role in their family. Okay, the mom just follow the kid because the more and more the mom just try to make the kid happy. So the most important thing that we target on the kid and make the kid feel happy with our brand, our product. But the important thing that in the product, you need to keep that You need to satisfy the mom based on the functional treat. That means you need to provide enough, the functional benefit for the kids, so they will accept it. So we don't talk to the mom. We just make sure that our product will pass by, whatever the mom think about the nutrition.
Right. Thanks. So, it is even more demanding, I'd say, that both functional benefits have to be there, and at the same time, your brand has to be fun. Talking about fun, Warren. Of course, Kin is the company for us, right? But we want to talk about your other business for a second, which is ABC President. Here you have 50% market share, or 60% market share in the RTDT space.
Green tea space.
Green tea space, there you go. And your recent campaign, which is a collaboration with One Piece, so well timed, I'd say, and I love it. I know several people who actually collect these bottles as collection. And of course, it has been doing quite well for you, as I understand, for the Gen Z and the millennials. Tell us about the thought process behind it, and tell us about how you have built a brand such as New that resonates so well with Gen Z and millennials.
So yeah, for Gen Z, the most important thing is to get their attention. As Trang was saying, that getting their attention is not easy, right? So with beverages or any other products, you can talk about taste, the function, but that doesn't really attract this new generation. So the thought process behind One Piece was that a few years ago, before COVID happened, we decided to go with the K-pop, right? And it was very successful for us. And our competitor also did very well recently, and they focused on the gaming genre. So they focus on Gen Zs who enjoyed the gaming. So this project happened because we wanted to enter green tea with fruit flavors, right? So this is the first time for our brand to enter the fruit-flavored green tea. And I challenged the team to find us another, segment that the Gen Zs, that would appeal to the Gen Z. So gaming was taken, and then there's K-pop out there. And anime is one area where the Gen Zs also have a very strong following of, right? So the concept is basically that you can't appeal to everyone. I mean, you have to pick something. And anime seemed to be the one thing that we researched, and it was also a huge following. And the kind of Gen Zs we want them to buy our product, not just for the product itself, right? For the experience, the whole community behind it, and that was the thinking behind One Piece. Because they also approached us at that time, and we were deciding between a few animes. And it just so happens that last year, the One Piece also entered into Indonesia for a big event. And
did you know that beforehand?
Not really, but they kind of indicated that since we were about to do this, they would like to come to Indonesia as well to have this big event with us. So the timing was, as you said, just right. So that was the thought process behind it.
Thanks, Warren. So I guess that ties really well in with the point that Trang mentioned, which is that I think the Gen Z and millennials are seeing consumption, not just for consumption, but it's really the experience, the brand image, right? Our office is in Suntec, for those of you who don't know. And I was going to work the other day on a Sunday. Yes, on a Sunday. And I saw this massive group of people in anime costume, right? Of all places in Singapore, such a huge crowd for the anime. And that's why I guess this One Piece has worked out very well, which is that it resonates. It brings the brand. And those kids, they would go around and wearing proudly those costumes, right? And so, because they want to be associated with that image. They want to be seen as the anime gal, the anime girl. And that's why I guess that's the resonation that we're talking about.
Yeah, and to add, I forgot to mention that Netflix had a live-action series that launched also during that time. So everything just worked out for us. Yeah. Very,
very well timed. Very well timed. So I think maybe if I may summarize just a few points that we have talked about from the consumer segmentation angle over here, which is that the Gen Z and millennials have very different approach to assumption compared to the generations before. And for stable brands or for incumbents, it will take courage and it will take investments to, I'd say, refresh, if not even reposition your brand if you want to remain relevant. I guess that would be a fair summary of our discussion. Let's move on to the next angle, which is distribution. This is to Trang's point where she said you have to be everywhere, right? Let me cue us up also with some statistics. So this is also very interesting. We have talked times and times again about the growth of the modern trade, or MT. But what we saw in 2023 is that the traditional trade or the general trade GT actually grew 4%. Whereas hypermart declined massively, supermarket was flat, mini market was down 2%. So clearly, this speaks to the importance of general trade. And by and large, in Indonesia and Vietnam, general trade is still 70% of retail. So it is an important channel. This one, maybe I'll start with Warren first, to be fair. GT has been the bread and butter of your business, your other business, that is.
Right.
And by all measures, ABC President is a successful company. We talked about the 60% market share in green tea RTD. Does that mean you're done there, or are there still developments that you're still working on for the general trade channel?
Yes, for sure. So general trade is evolving. I mean, it keeps evolving, and I think I don't foresee the general trade declining that fast in the next 5 to 10 years. So it will still be a very dominant space in Indonesian distribution for FMCG. So the challenge is that with the growing mini marts and all that, we do see an evolution of the general trade where they are moving to what we call second streets, or usually the protocol streets in most Indonesian cities are already covered by all the mini marts and the modern trade, and they've eventually moved into the what do you call the second tier or second roads, right? And also what we learned during COVID was that all these general trades started to blossom also surrounding more of the residential areas where some of these mini marts has not covered yet, right? So I think with time, people will still have some comfort, shopping at general trade over mini mart. So I think there will still be a segment there. And especially the recent research that we conducted regarding the school children, right, and then also even the university students. The students that come from what we say the B to C segment, they still look for general trade as their first outlet to shop over the mini mart. Whereas for the A-B class, they go to mini mart first, then the general trade, right? So there is still that dynamic. So that's quite interesting for us to understand that the comfort level for some of the B to C segment, they still feel more comfortable shopping at general trade. So until they start moving up the segment, then we still see that general trade is important.
In terms of the operation that support the general trade, I think it would be interesting for the audience if you could share a little bit about the complexity and the ever-changing dynamics in the GT channel.
So the GT channel, there will always be a challenge in price. Yeah. So products in GT channel need to be at a certain price point for it to be successful. I mean, there are cases where certain products that are above a certain price point has been successful, but it's generally not the case. Yeah. So I think to really distribute in the general trade, there is a ceiling of price that you need to work around. So also to add on to the general trade, there is a lot of investment in the human resource. So for us to go and really penetrate the general trade, we need to hire a lot more people. There has to be teams that really monitor what they're doing. And I think thankfully, at least in the last 5 to 10 years, there's technologies that are helping us do the monitoring system. Obviously, it's not easy, but I think it's moving towards that direction. And I think that's why a lot of FMCG companies are still investing heavily in the GT and applying technology behind it as well.
Thanks. Maybe Sang, if you could share something from the Vietnam angle, maybe some statistics again. Vietnam has about 1.5 million, right, general stores. And empty stores will be about a few thousand. So clearly GT is still a very dominant channel for the country and for yourself.
Okay, if you look at on the Vietnam distribution system, you can say that it depends on the category we want to talk. In generally, the GT still occupy for about 70 to 80% of the total business. So for dairy business, around 20%. In order to go into the empty channel, it's very costly because the supermarket and own chain, they require a lot of discount on the KPI they want to talk to. So you need to give them, a lot of things in order to get back the listing, right. And also that, you need to spend a lot of money to make sure that, you can compete with the competitors because they always go down with the price. Indonesia market, it's somehow different because the consumer, they go into supermarket, they buy a cheaper price than in GT. Because they force the manufacturer to give a lot of promotion, every day. This category, next another day is another category. And for the GT, the challenge is the same because of the nationwide distribution. The total, the outlets around Vietnam, around 250,000 outlets. We just half of that, about 120. So every month, every year, we want to increase our total, coverage plan up to 150. Like I said, it's very expensive because we need to spend on the people. You need to spend on the distributor margin. Also, that you need to compete with other in the small shop as well because they require you a lot of investment in terms of trade promotion, in terms of merchandising, in terms of sampling, activation, all kind of thing they every day. If you can do that, they move to another brand. So we need to stay on alert all the time, to compete with own competitor in the market.
Absolutely. I think that would be something that Warren would agree to a large extent on in the GT channel. Maybe let's touch on digital commerce for a second because this is the elephant in the room. Last year, this channel grew 40%. And this also partially explained the growth of the beauty category, the cosmetic category. This channel has allowed direct-to-consumer access for these smaller brands. Maybe we go to Trang then. How relevant is this channel as you look at a staples company, right? With this dynamic, how do you see this relevancy of the channel to a staples?
Yeah, I think, again, going back to understanding the customer segment that a particular brand targets. If you target the Gen Z and the millennials, and these are digitally savvy, digital native consumers, then you have to be present on digital commerce whether you like it or not. But I think above that, the key is to understand why they shop for staples on digital commerce channel, e-commerce channel, because unlike, say, beauty, personal care, e-commerce channel is probably a little bit more towards impulsive purchase. But for staples, I think a lot of millennials like myself go to digital commerce, Shopee, Lazada, and all that, to buy staples because of convenience. And actually, we look for discounts, bulk discounts. So, and it's not a bad thing because, as we know that the e-commerce economics, unit economics is challenging if the drop size is very small. But if you buy in bulk, then actually your AOV could be higher than in GT. selling to the same customer. And then with certain discount, with certain smart decision around product assortment so that you don't create channel conflict between GT, MT, e-commerce. I think e-commerce actually could work very well for staples because these are bulky items, milk, diapers, milk powders, and whatnot. People will buy on e-commerce if they already know your brand and they kind of want to seek for value. And the AOV could potentially be high because of that bulk purchase. So I think one, important to have presence because of the growing importance of omni-channel, and two, to find the right product assortment for e-commerce so that you don't just, on top of unlocking revenue growth potential, you also make money on this channel.
Yeah. Thanks, Trang. Sound, back to you. IDP recently finally launched on Lazada.
Yes.
E-commerce channel. Explain the thought process.
Yeah.
Why
that,
now?
You know that, okay, like Dan said, okay, Gen Z or millennials, group of people, they spend all the time online, They just, before we say, okay, the people go to the shop, you have window shopping. But now they go to screen shopping. That means they just look at the screen, And then we need to tap into that, channel to make sure that, okay, not only on the sale, but also we bring information to the target consumer. So it's very important that we need to reach them both in everywhere if you want to compete with all competitors, With pressure from the shareholder or from the competitor, we need to be everywhere.
Indeed. Especially, I read on the press the other day that there's this new trend called midnight shopping. That's when people start to go online and do all their shopping, right? I guess if I may summarize the points that has been discussed, one word comes to mind, which is accessibility. You have to be where your consumers are. I guess that would be the common points that you guys have shared. For those in GT, it is still a dominant channel, but continued investment have to be made in your sales people, in your infrastructure to manage your distributors. If you've been working with large distributors, now maybe time to work with small distributors if you have the infrastructure. And if you're not in some of these digital commerce channels, it's time to be. It's better late than never. I guess that would be the way I answer my own question about IDP. Moving on to the last angle, which is product innovation. So there's no denials that innovations drives growth. And in a few successful cases, innovations even creates new categories. And I'm proud to say that Kun juice milk and Slurp yogurt in tube format are in that bucket. So kudos to us. But on the flip side, what very few people know is that only 10% of new product launches survive the first year from launch. Maybe I'll go back to Warren. How do you handle that? How do you approach innovations if that's the case?
Yeah, innovation is definitely key to a business that needs to continue to grow, and it's just a mindset, I believe, and a culture that you need to instill in your company that you got to innovate, and you cannot be afraid of failing. As you see, the statistics here is that most products won't fail, and the challenge is also whenever you speak to the R&D team and marketing team, if a product fails, then they feel demotivated. But the idea is that if your company instills a culture and a mindset that this is okay and that we continue on, then I think that is key. And that's why, as I think in your previous slides, you put up the FDU concept, right? So that is a philosophy that we really believe in and that we instill in all our companies, that when you innovate, you also have to really try to be first in the market of whatever you decide to do. So I think you put up the good examples here where all these products are first to launch, and at least the chances of success would be greater if you try to be first, right? So I think that's key to kind of build that mindset, build that culture in the company.
Anything to add, Sam?
Yeah, I think in this business, the consumer insights play a very important thing together with your R&D expertise. Okay, if you want to success, you need to understand your consumer very well, and then you have expertise to offer what they need. For example, in the IDP, we are very successful. Just launched last 2 months the same product. But we put the particle, we call jelly inside, but quickly we can sell a lot. And now no stock. That means that, okay, we need to understand the consumer very, very deeply in detail. Okay, research will play a very important thing. And how the marketing team can talk with the consumer and get the insight. And then they convert it into what they can offer to the consumer. The R&D and technology play very, very important, in this industry. Yeah.
If I may push this point even further, at least from my perspective, and it ties into the point that Trang mentioned at the beginning, which is the Gen Z and millennials are impulsive purchasers. Excuse me. To get them hooked on the products is hard, but what's harder is to get them stay loyal to or keep spending on your products, right? So from my perspective, what I've seen working is a shorter innovation cycle. So you've got to quickly put out your product. Of course, it has to be first. Of course, it has to be unique. Of course, it has to satisfy the demand or the need of the consumers. But you have to have the courage to also pull back and quickly see that those products are not, some products are not working, we pull back. And we keep this cycle very short, very quick. We keep their attention on spending our product. Can be the same brand, same product, different products. That would be my take and summary for this point. So we have talked about the consumer segmentation point. We talked about the distribution being accessible to your consumer. We talk about we need to be there, top of their mind, launching these new products, being all fresh all the time. So now we kind of understand what is happening, right? Maybe the last question I'll pose to Trang. Knowing what we know now, how do you see from an investor perspective the opportunities in the staple segment? And more importantly, how do we as investors and shareholders and partners make ourselves an accretive partner to the company that we invest in?
Yeah. So it's no doubt that the value chain of a typical traditional staple company is being disrupted left, right, center. Right? New brands are getting launched faster thanks to e-commerce platforms. Digital media makes a new brand shout out to the customers a lot faster, a lot faster. And so for us as investor, is this sector still interesting? And I think the short answer is it's still interesting because there are ways to unlock value if you know how to leverage the changes and you know how to track the consumers and you know how to capitalize on their changing behaviors. So it's no longer, for us, it's still an interesting sector, but how we invest has actually changed a lot. In the past, maybe you look at a market leader with very high market share, cash generative, leverage, deleverage, and that's how you make your returns. Now, every time we pick up a new consumer opportunity, not just staples, but then just anything, we really have to unpack every single value creation lever. So whether the brand positioning is right, whether the pricing, promotion, the nutritional values or the functional benefits are comparable or how it compares to peers, are we doing okay on the hygiene factors of the functional benefits? And then on top of that, are we innovating fast enough? Are we shortening the R&D cycle? Are we having the right product assortment for all the different channels that our customer buy from? How is the conversion funnel like, and where is it ATL that we have to work on? Is it BTL that we have to work on? And then manufacturing, sales, operation, and so on. So every single lever we have to unpack, and we have to identify that business plan up front. But I would say that is where the alpha is going to come from, and it's a lot of hard work of walking the ground, going to the GT store with the team. You guys go to the farm in Keene. But that's the fun of our job. But I think nothing really beats having a line partners, a line management team to execute because as much as we wish, we can't just do it alone as Growthium. And really that's the genesis of I guess, the AGM today and really happy and proud to have Warren, to have Sang, to have IDP and Kin team to be our partners on this journey of building Kin and Kun, like a distant cousins, to become the respective local champions in our respective markets. So thank you very much for being here today with us.
Thank you.
There you have it, guys. Once again, Warren, Sang, and Trang. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Viet, and our panelists, Sang, Warren, and Trang, for driving such an open and lively discussion. And honestly, it was starting to sound like a due diligence session at some point. So Sang and Warren, I know we already subjected you guys to a couple of months of that. So I promise that was not meant to be a second repeat of that due diligence session. So thank you very much for your time on that panel. Okay, so I know people are kind of full with lunch now, but not to re-summarize and re-torture all of you, but I do feel like there are two unique aspects that came through in that session for me. Firstly, that the reach to the consumer has been made easier and more accessible through digital distribution. And secondly, that the purchase of goods, whether staple or discretionary, has actually also been made easier due to the availability of digital lending. And as we're fortunate to have the leaders of two of our very early portfolio companies with us, why don't we hear from them so that we can see how these trends are actually shaping up from their perspective. So please join me in welcoming to the stage the Digital Director of Alobank, Sajal. Sajal, please.
Thank you. The slides will be function from there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having us here. I'll get straight to talking about Alobank because we don't have a lot of time. So about Alobank, actually when Amit started the session today, he talked about building enduring national champions. And we believe Alobank and Indonesian market is in a very good position to build one as we are doing right now. Talking about Indonesian digital banking market, it's actually a very interesting place to operate in. There's very high internet penetration, yet very large number of underbanked customers. The credit card penetration and overall credit penetration is actually very, very small. So essentially the problem of access has been solved, yet the customers are supposed to come online, and which we are seeing happening as we speak right now. Where Alobank comes in, it's exactly catering to that market. We come in with a lot of trust. We are backed by some of the best names in the country. So we do come in with a lot of trust. We do see that the accessibility has been solved, and we are building products which hope to cater to this segment specifically. Talking about the other key drivers, there are competitors in the market who are also operating in the same space as us, but most of them are very ecosystem dependent. And fortunately for us, we have a position of being a bit more agnostic and more universally accepted. And we'll talk about that in the subsequent slides as well. However, the fact is we have nothing limiting us in working for our customers at every single point of interaction, and that's exactly the brand proposition that we are coming in with. We are actually a lifestyle bank. We are actually the bank which works with you for every single transaction, and every single transaction gets us a little bit extra of your trust, which gets us a little bit extra of your business as well. Talking about technology, we have some of the best partners for technology. We have actually one of the largest banks and the most successful banks helping us with the technology. And we do have a very strong internal team as well, building up the product. And to be fair, we are just 2 years old. We launched in May 2022. Yet the number of products that we have, and again, we'll see that in the specific slide going forward, it's immense. The way we could build so much in such a short amount of time, that in itself puts us in a very, very unique position. Last is access to funding. It is a busy market. I did talk about there are quite a few competitors out there. They're giving good interest rates to get deposits. Fortunately for us, our partners or our backers have put us in a position where they don't just give us trust in the market, but also resources to operate in the market with, which again keeps our costs down. Next slide, please. So yeah, we are about 2 years old. We are the second fastest digital bank in Indonesia to reach 5 million customers. We took 8 months to reach 5 million customers. And I have operated in this industry for, I think, 10 years now, digital banking industry. And to be fair, across the world, I would say this is one of the best performance, except China, where there are a lot of customers as well. Talking about profitability, we have been profitable from year one, and our profits have grown. We are actually the most profitable digital bank in Indonesia as of right now. And the reason why we are able to do that is because from the start, we have been focusing on getting customers which can get us revenue and profitable revenues. We operate in a very busy industry, but we have a very different approach. So most of the competitors in our industry are very ecosystem specific, and these are digital ecosystems. We are more hybrid, digital plus offline ecosystem specific, and I'll again cover that a bit more in the section where we talk about partnerships. And we are very, very well recognized in the market, and we have multiple awards to speak for it as well. I talked about the peers already, so maybe we'll skip that. Maybe next slide. Right. Yeah, this is the essence of the bank essentially. When I was talking about earlier, Alo Bank is a lifestyle bank. We have a position where, because of our non-association with any large digital ecosystem, we can actually work with everyone. And because of that, I want to work with all the life experiences of our customers, from the time when they're born to the time when they pass away, or from morning to evening. So we have built products which are effectively simple. We don't want to build many variants of the same product. We want to build 2 or 3 simple products which serve all of your needs, and at the same time are simple for you to understand. We talked about in the beginning about Indonesia being quite underbanked, right? And the fact about underbanked population, beyond trust, they also need simplicity to be able to get their first banking product, and that's what we have been focusing on. So there are transactional services like payments, bills, transfers, top-up. These are basic transactional services. We also have a loyalty program, which we use as a hook to bring in more customers. And then we have basic banking services built on savings, built on e-money, deposits, and lending products on cash loan as well as BNPL. So as you can see, actually we have the complete suite of offerings, but we still keep them very simple. We have a single cash loan product. We have a single BNPL product. We don't want to create 5 different BNPL products which confuses our customer, but we'll make one so well that it caters to most of the needs of our customers today. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so this is where the differentiation for us comes in. So I am a very frequent digital customer, right? And I would like to say I'm a bit more like a millennial, so I come there, do impulse purchase, but I spend a little less time on that platform. But whenever I go offline, even someone like me who don't like spending time in shops, I end up spending 5 to 10 minutes over there. And maybe if you're my wife, you would spend longer, 30, 40 minutes, I don't know. Seems way longer. But the thing is, our ecosystem is very offline centric. So we are not really competing with our competitors at the point of our customer engagement. When they move to a Transmart store or when they move to a restaurant, they're spending quite a bit of amount of time there, and our competitors are not targeting the same place or same point of interaction, which allows us to cater to our customer at a far lower cost and actually give them offerings which are very, very customized or useful for them. So we have a conglomerate backing our bank, which is CT Corp. Pachete was here. He's just come in actually. So with the backing of a conglomerate like Chete Corp, we get trust, we get the largest consumer ecosystem in the country, and we get partners like Transmart, which is one of the marquee retail stores. We get restaurants, and we get to work with them at a level where we are so deeply embedded into the product that for the customer, the experience of eating food is the experience of interacting with Alo Bank itself. We do have media, we do have other online segments inside the group, but we also work with non-ecosystem players, people who are our partners like Bukalapak, Blibli, Indomaret, Irajaya. We work with telecoms, we work with the largest cinema chain in the country. We also work with railway network. We have more than 200 of such partners. And the objective is we want more and more interactions of our users to come with us in a better connected form. And the thing about partnership is there are marquee partners which will always work for us. And Chete Corp ecosystem is one of those. But there are going to be a lot of other such partners which will help our customers at different point of time, and we'll keep on cycling them without any particular association binding us. Next slide, please. Talking about numbers a bit, our growth on users have been great. We have been one of the fastest growing digital bank in the country. Our revenues have been growing also at a significantly good rate, and we are the most profitable digital bank as of today. Our peers have also have a far less consistent profitability performance, and I'll tell you why we are able to do it so much more profitably. One, because we interact at places like offline, where we are able to acquire customers at a cheap cost or interact with them on a very, very cheap cost. Second, we focus on revenue products from day zero. You saw our product slide. It's actually almost we have all the product offerings. So from day zero, when we acquire our customers, we're not just acquiring them for engagements or for deposit. We are also building in the lending product in the same journey. So we are able to build revenue making and profitable interactions from very, very early. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is some 2023 highlight. 2023 and we were at 7.6 million users. We are significantly larger as we speak today. I can't reveal the numbers, unfortunately. Our profit was 445 billion rupiah with net interest income of 1 trillion rupiah plus. All of the numbers have been trending positively at significant multipliers, and we hope to keep on doing even better in the coming years. That's it, I think. Oh, there's one more, sorry. So on the 2024, there are some more products coming in. We are getting into SME lending space, which also is going to be based upon the marquee ecosystems in the beginning, but become more public, maybe early 25. We are getting virtual debit card. This is one of the products that has been missing. We are getting investment accounts. And basically, we're going to keep on doing what we have been doing better, having banking as a service for integration with our partners, having better underwriting and better payment features. So more of the same, yet doing it better. I think, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sajal. Now to round things out, please welcome to the stage the Deputy CEO of HelloFresh, Eugene Hong, to share his insights. Thanks, Eugene. A round of applause, please.
Oh, here. Hi. A very good evening to Pak Amit, our esteemed advisors from GCP, and also all of our honored guests today. It's a privilege to be here tonight to present one of the leading e-grocery businesses in Indonesia, which is HelloFresh. So, next please. So, why HelloFresh, why e-grocery, and why Indonesia? So before we move on to the slides, just to change the pace of interaction in the audience today, By the very show of hands, please indulge me. How many of you have been into Indonesia, Jakarta, or the big cities in Indonesia? Right? And how many of you have felt the first-hand traffic jam or macet in Indonesia, where you spend countless of hours sitting in traffic and having brain damage? Right? And the last one is, how many of you would prefer to spend that time elsewhere with your loved ones, your family, or as what Pak Amit mentioned earlier, to drive value creation for our stakeholders and LPs, away from spending time groceries in the traffic? How many prefer that, or having your groceries delivered to your doorsteps? I believe the latter is true. So this number that you see on the slides today is very reflective of the current opportunity and the situation of e-grocery market in Indonesia right now. Right now, it's still under-penetrated at a value at about under $1 billion in 2022. Very small compared to the traditional retail market and also the modern retail. Now, although there's a lot of upside on the e-grocery market, it also comes with a lot of issues. And click next, please. And if we were not careful, you will see these issues manifest into the current problems that we see in the current players in the e-grocery market and the incumbents. Now, what sets HelloFresh apart? Next. So there are two strategic modes that I can share today, or which I'm allowed to share today. So one is we have a very strong partnership and collaboration with Transmart, one of the largest offline retailers in Indonesia, where we can immediately tap on their logistics, their warehouse, distribution, and also procurement channels. This immediately sets us apart from our peers, where we can provide our users a wider range of assortment, cheaper costs, and also provides HelloFresh with an omni-channel presence, both offline and digital channels. Next. Secondly, as what Pat Amit mentioned earlier, true to their core, we have received a lot of support from GCP's Board of Advisors, which really help us to think about how to deepen our market penetration and also to increase our reach to the underserved population in terms of the e-grocery market. Here we apply a very prudent spending approach on where we only invest in proven strategies to get the highest returns with the lowest cost possible. Next. Next, please. So 2023 was a great year for us, and there are some points I want to share. So one is we have formed many synergistic partnerships with the top banks and also the payment channels, e-wallets in Indonesia. Alobank soon, for this year. That's just the goal. But this is important because we want to give users a wide range of payment options for their checkout experience. And the other one in 2023 is we have an always-on marketing approach to continue to get new MTUs into the platform and also retaining healthy users within our ecosystem. And the last one is our product and tech team has been relentless in innovating great features to keep to provide the best-in-class user experience when it comes to grocery shopping online. Next. Speaking of e-grocery best-in-class experience, these numbers that you see here, ladies and gentlemen, is a testimony to our commitment to our users. So if you look at the first number, which is 98%, this shows that we almost reach 100% fulfillment level. Basically, whatever that user wants to buy, we have it ready in terms of the stock and the choices, and have it delivered to their doorstep, right? And all within the 2 hours promised, 2 hours delivery promise time, service levels to them. The other one is we try our best to make sure that the checkout experience and also the payment experience that they have in the HelloFresh app to be as seamless as possible, so that users will have a certainty and assurance that whatever they purchase and pay for, they will receive it in due time and in a accurate manner. And last but not least, the significant improvement that we did is we really minimized on the downtime of application to increase our user trust and stickiness. As you can see, this translates into a very hyper growth, accelerated growth in both revenue and MTU aspects. Next. Last but not least, before I end my short notes for tonight, these are a few commitments from myself and also HelloFresh to GCP and our stakeholders. So one is we will continue our strive to provide the best-in-class user experience in terms of e-grocery by expanding into a user persona-based marketing approach and also having a strong loyalty membership program to increase user stickiness and increase their transaction frequency in our platform. Second, we will ramp up on our marketing approach and branding, right? Given that the current situation with our peers that we see a decline, we want to capture as much of the market share and from the incumbents as much as possible. And lastly, we will start to innovate outside the application, where we will have our own warehouses and distribution centers to really provide our users a richer assortment in terms of SKUs and also a cheaper pricing, while for the company perspective, a better margins and better profitability. All of this translates to a bullish 5x revenue growth compared to last year, and we strive to be the #1 and undisputed local champion in the e-grocery space in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Eugene, and to everybody who spoke for the consumer panel as well as provided the consumer portfolio updates. Before we move on to the second session, can we please? I hope everybody is enjoying their food. Let's recenter. Okay, so we're now moving on to the second part of our panel discussions, which is the healthcare segment of our program. So no discussion of healthcare, and to some extent, any portfolio company of Growthium would be complete without the discussion of ESG. So to start things off on the right track, please welcome our head of ESG as well as our general counsel, Adrian, to share with you some developments and our thinking around ESG. Everyone, a round of applause for Adrian.
Thank you, Katrina. Good evening, everyone. As this is our first AGM, we thought we'll spend a few minutes just sharing with you our thinking and some developments on the ESG front. Now, here at Growthium, we believe in the establishment of a strong ESG culture, as well as the adoption of good sustainability practices, as these are integral to the success of our portfolio companies and our team. Now, over the last 2 years, we've been on a journey to develop our ESG culture, strategy, and processes. In 2022, we developed an environmental and social management system, or ESMS, to help us with, conducting due diligence on our portfolio companies, as well as creating plans to help, remediate and to also deal with any risks that we identify. In 2023, we implemented fully this ESMS and came to action plans and agreed with our portfolio companies on the implementation of these plans. At the same time, we set up an ESG committee and a diversity committee. With these building blocks in place, we are now into the third phase of our ESG journey. And this is probably the most interesting and challenging one as we work on value creation opportunities from a sustainability standpoint. Now some information on how we are doing. Since our first close, we have not only established an ESMS, but we've also encouraged our portfolio companies to do the same. In addition, we've agreed on ESEPs with 4 of our portfolio companies on more than 90 action items covering many, many different ESG issues. In terms of other notable ESG developments, from a governance standpoint, we've been sort of involved in the appointment of auditors new auditors at 2 portfolio companies. The next slide, please. And also played a role in the appointment of ESG heads and leads at 3 portfolio companies. One portfolio company, IDP, has determined to make a bold move to transition from coal to biomass as a fuel for its boilers. It is currently in the process of making this swap at an existing facility and has plans to do the same at a new facility that it is constructing. With all these positive developments in mind, we intend to press forward with a number of plans and initiatives in 2024. These include rolling out a SaaS platform capable of efficiently compiling Portco ESG inputs and benchmarking them as well. In addition, we're going to start tracking and measuring GHG, energy, and other environmental data from our portfolio. Finally, we intend to work with external partners and Portcos to optimize energy efficiency. Next, I wanted to share a bit of information on the socio-economic contributions that our portfolio companies are making, because we do believe that they are contributing significantly to the region and the country and the communities that they are situated in. So, since our investment over the last 2 years, our portfolio companies have created more than almost 750 net new jobs, and the annual contributions that they have made to government revenue through corporate taxes have increased by 84% to $21 million. As at the end of 2023, the number of customers and patients directly served by these companies were approximately 8.3 million, a significant increase from the time of our investments. These numbers kind of understate actually what our portfolio companies do. For example, as you will hear about in a few minutes, Mitra Plumbon Healthcare's hospitals in West Java are increasing healthcare standards and increasing access to medical services in the region by caring for the underserved, lower middle class patients. So they are contributing directly to the socio-economic benefit, development of that region. Before I end, I would like to spend a moment talking a bit about diversity. As Amit's slides earlier show, we are very convinced of the importance of diversity, particularly because the industries and sectors that we target span a myriad of countries and cultures, and the products and services that they offer often have female consumers as key decision makers. So the background of the Growthium team reflects this conviction. 18 of us come from 6 different countries, from different educational and professional backgrounds. And 44% of us are female. And this is very similar to our portfolio companies, where 47% of the total employees are females. So all this shows how important diversity is to us and to our portfolio companies. With that, I think I'd like to conclude by saying that we've made good progress over the last 2 years, and with your support, we intend to continue pressing and stretching ourselves in this area. Thank you very much.
All right, with that very important context in mind, allow me to invite a Senior Managing Director at Growthium, Kusnadi, to present some updates around our Indonesia healthcare portfolio company, Mitra Plumbon Healthcare Group. Kusnadi?
Thank you, Kat. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kusnadi. I know it's getting late, so if I can just ask for your undivided attention for 8 to 10 minutes, that would be grateful. Imagine a hospital that combines the best of both worlds, the excellence of private healthcare and the accessibility of social insurance. I'd like to welcome you to Mitra Plumbon, a unique hybrid model hospital designed to serve the socially insured population with private healthcare quality. More than 80% of our 1.2 patients annually receives quality healthcare at zero out-of-pocket costs. Our unique blend of excellence and accessibility bridges the healthcare gap providing affordable, quality medical services to everyone. In this presentation, we explore how Mitra Pumbon is transforming healthcare with innovation and scalability. Next, please. You know, healthcare is our right. It's essential for well-being and a life of purpose. But Indonesia faces a stark challenges. You see that low bed counts, low doctor counts, and especially in West Java, a home to more than 50 million population. Despite this, demand for healthcare is growing, driven by a rising income, urbanization, and to a large extent, our own lifestyles. There is a huge opportunity to address the unequal access, the inefficient resource allocation, and the shortage of healthcare professionals in Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities. But there is good news. Our government is committed to healthcare, increasing spending, initiating programs like BPJS, which includes subsidies and mandate employers enrollment. By addressing these challenges and leveraging the existing resources, infrastructure, as well as funding, we can unlock the vast potentials for healthcare improvement in Indonesia, ensuring equal access and to quality care for all. Next, please. No, the slides before, sorry. Indonesia's healthcare is on the cusp of a major transformation. Government spending, as you can see, in the last decade has tripled from 4 billion to 12 billion US dollar. BPJS, the National Healthcare Insurance Program, is financially healthy and stable thanks to rising premiums and participation, covering impressive 96% of the population. That's 260 million people. The underserved socially insured segment presents a vast opportunity, estimated at roughly about 6 billion US dollar. And Indonesia is poised to outgrow the rest of Southeast Asia in healthcare expenditure. Next, please. We are truly redefining healthcare in Indonesia. 5 hospitals, strong in West Java, more than 1.2 million patients, impacting countless lives and families. We offered unparalleled care across multiple specialties and complex cases. Our team of over 2,700 professionals is transforming lives every day. Our Rumah Sakit Cirebon, the flagship, is Indonesia's largest single-site private hospital offering cutting-edge care and treatment options. Efficient operation and exceptional care, that's our promise, and we harness technology and innovation to do so. Next page, please. We are expanding the healthcare horizon with 1,500 beds and 2,000 more on the way. We're not just growing, we are evolving to meet the future head-on. Our hospitals are located just outside cities, along critical transport routes. Strategic locations and intentional focus on accessibility ensure that we are prepared to scale and innovate in ways that matter the most. As you can see as well, careful selection on market analysis, doctors and nurses supply, and patient demand. We have 7 prime land sites for future development, each with potential to develop into 500 to 700 beds, right? That's offering immense scalability. Next page. A little bit about 2023. We have exceptional performance. We're soaring to new heights, in fact. Revenue and EBITDA surged 2 times and 2.6 times respectively since 2019. Year-on-year growth accelerates, 25% revenue growth and 35% EBITDA growth in 2023. We further skyrocket to 44% revenue growth and 63 EBITDA growth in Q1 of this year. And how did we do that? More than 1.2 million patients delivering quality care and exceptional outcome at affordable prices. We have more than twice the outpatient and inpatient volume growth. We intensified partnership to strengthen patient outreach, and we added 470 beds in existing and new hospitals, including the nuclear wing in our Rumah Sakit Cirebon. Underpinning all of this, growth and expansion at the forefront of our strategy. Rigorous capital allocation for maximum impact and efficiency, and of all, proprietary hospital design. Next page. We are proud to share our remarkable progress in 2024. We're not just expanding, we're transforming. We have added new wings, new hospitals, new facilities to meet increasing demand, reduce your waiting time, and enhance patient comfort. We have advanced treatment options that includes your radiation therapy, your nuclear medicine. We have state-of-the-art medical technology. We have electronic health records, and further develop our new specialties for comprehensive care all under one roof. Next, please. And I like you to also meet Dr. Festus, who is seated over there in this room. He is a practicing neurosurgeon with a secret past. Over 10 years, he pioneered our end-to-end system, streamlining patient care from registration to recovery. Electronic medical records, drugs prescriptions, pharmacy inventory, he led it all. But listen, we won't stop there. And in 2024, we are leveling it up with Satu Sehat integration, with enhanced analytics and reporting. And to keep your data safe, Dr. Festus, Amit, and the team, we are collaborating closely to bolster cybersecurity with extensive internal assessment on cybersecurity and best-in-class NIST and ISO 27000 frameworks. We are future-proofing healthcare and one upgrade at a time. But that's not all. We have centralized procurement, we have real-time monitoring, and we have unified pricing power, more than 3,000 drugs and across 25 distributors. Next, please. I want to talk a little bit about the family. So in 2003, a dream was born. So you see Dr. Andre Susilo and Ibu Saraswati. They founded Mitra Plumbon. And together they nurtured a legacy of compassion, dedication, and excellence. Though Dr. Andre's untimely passing in 2015 left a void, his spirit lives on through his family. Ibu Saraswati, who is also here with us today, is a shining example of resilience, continue to inspire us. Their three children, Dr. Festus, Dr. Sulaiman, and Dr. Rima, carry the torch of their parents' passion for healing and service. We honor today the Susilo family's unwavering commitment to Mitra Plumbon's mission. Let their story inspire us to build a brighter future driven by empathy, innovation, and excellence. May their legacy continue to transform lives and shape the future of healthcare. We have a short video clip to show everyone. I hope you don't mind.
Mitra Plumbon Healthcare Group, under the auspices of the Mitra Plumbon Healthcare Company, is a development of Mitra Plumbon Hospital, Mitra Plumbon Sibitung Hospital, Mitra Plumbon Indramayu Hospital, Mitra Plumbon Majalengka Hospital, with the vision of providing the best health services for all communities in all regions in Indonesia. Mitra Plumbon Healthcare Group develops quality hospitals and health facilities supported by professional management, quality human resources, and equipped with adequate facilities. Not just the infrastructure aspect, the management aspect also continues to be developed. Management is increasingly dynamic and responsive, which is expected to provide quality referral health services, oriented towards effective and efficient service quality and prioritizing patient safety. Mitra Plumbon Healthcare Group partners continue to expand their collaboration.
And as we conclude, I'd just like to remember that Mitra Plumbon stands at the forefront of healthcare innovation with a unique hybrid model and advanced technology and a dedicated team. We are not just part of the change, we are driving it. Join us as we shape the future of healthcare in Indonesia. Thank you, and let's move forward together.
Thank you, Pakus, and I'm sure you'll all agree that that was a very important discussion to ground our next panel. So, Pakus, actually may I invite you to come back to the stage, as he will also be moderating our second panel on healthcare. And may I kindly invite our esteemed panelists, Kunpo, Dr. Festus, and Dr. Satit, to join the stage to discuss how we balance out healthcare quality delivery as well as balancing a business building mindset. Guys, a round of applause for everybody coming to the stage. Thank you.
Katrina, thank you. I'm excited to be moderating this healthcare panel discussion on making healthcare accessible and affordable for the masses while creating a profitable business model. I think for a long time, private investments have really focused mostly on premium hospitals. They neglect the middle and mass class. But with rising social insurance, more government healthcare spending, I think private hospitals have a golden opportunity to tap into this vastly growing market. Our experts will share their insights on leveraging growth to healthcare spending and creating a monetizable investment proposition. Let me quickly welcome the panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our distinguished panelists. Sawadee krap, Dr. Sathit. Dr. Sathit is a visionary healthcare leader and entrepreneur with a legacy of building world-class hospitals in Thailand. As chairman of Principal Capital, he oversees 14 hospitals nationwide, including top-performing private provincial hospitals. With a proven track record in developing successful healthcare ventures, Dr. Sathit, you are a respected figure in the industry dedicated to delivering exceptional patient outcare. And welcome, Dr. Festus. What a trailblazing healthcare leader and neurosurgeon. As CEO of Mitra Plumbon, the Indonesia's fourth largest private hospital group, you really truly combine medical expertise with innovative vision to transform healthcare. With a unique journey from your own as an IT innovator to leading neurosurgeon and CEO, plus your experience from West China Medical Center, one of the world's largest and top-ranked hospital, you bring a lot of passion for technology-driven efficiency and excellence. And welcome Kunpo, my partner at Growthium, with a successful track record of investing in hospitals in the Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam. As a valued deal team member for our investment in Mitra Plumbon, he brings a unique investor's perspective on the region's healthcare. With that, let us kick it off. Maybe let me start first of all with Dr. Festus. How will the new precedent and policy changes you think impact healthcare for the masses?
Thank you, Pakus. So I think with the result of the latest election in Indonesia, we are quite have a certainty of the government that have the smooth transition and smooth succession. I mean, the regulation and the policy also won't change a lot, and it will give benefit and opportunity to us, Pakus.
And what do you think in terms of what's next? Increased funding from the government, from the private sector, whether there will be wider coverage or a shift in focus?
Yeah. So I can see that the BPJS already covered, the BPJS is our social insurance in Indonesia, and it already covers 96% of the population. So it means if you sick, you go to the A&E or go to the specialist clinic, it will be free. Yeah. So the problem is not the coverage of the population, but the hospital. The healthcare facility is really lack of supply. So I saw in your presentation that Indonesia have above the standard of WHO. WHO standard is 1 bed per 1,000. But if you see West Java is only 2 hours driving from Jakarta. It is less than WHO standard. It's 0.8. So the challenge is how we can serve the massive population in West Java. West Java alone is 50 million population, and you have lack of beds, and the coverage of the BPS is already 96%. So there is an opportunity, Bagus.
And can you tell us a bit more about, for example, there have been also recent changes in the policies, right, with the new omnibus law, and how does that impact?
Yes, thank you. This is very interesting. Omnibus law talking some points about the healthcare ecosystem. Number one is increasing the number of doctors. So if you see, and based on every research, the number of doctors is lack. We need doctors. Other people telling me, oh, it's not a number of the quantity, but it's the distribution. It's a combo. It's a combo. The lack of the doctors and the distribution is the lack of is a combo. So we are lack and we need more. I know from the elected president, he is aiming to have more doctor by using. Let me ask you, how to produce a specialist doctors? Through the university, but it not occurred in Indonesia. It should be in hospital and the university. Same with the US, same with other countries, hospital based. That's number one. So number two is the easiness of licensing practice. So the doctors that want to go to our hospitals or any hospitals, they have a simplified licensing procedure by this omnibus law. And number three, which is very, very trendy, is the foreign doctors. Foreign doctors can practice in Indonesia. So will it benefit our ecosystem? Of course, yes. But I would say that it will be benefit mostly in Jakarta or the metro. Because in the second and third tier city, people also don't really see who is the doctor. They mostly see the brand, the brand of the hospital. So that's the point of the omnibus law, the recent omnibus law. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Maybe let me turn to Dr. Satit. How can private healthcare support Thailand's strained social healthcare system?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to explain about the government sponsor for the insurance in Thailand. We have universal coverage, we have social security and civil servant. So in Thailand, it's like in Indonesia, 100% of the people in Thailand get insured by the government. Everything for free, like in Indonesia. Accident, cancer, open heart surgery, every disease is for free. That's the benefit of Thai people. However, in the government hospital, you have to wait for like 6 hours, 4 hours. Sometimes if you come that day and it's full, you have to come another day. So the service, the doctor and the nurse are very tired. They don't have time to please the patient, diagnose the patient, or say good word, or take time to treat the patient. So that's come up with the private sector to come in. In the private sector, we can join the government for 3 services: universal coverage, social security, and civil servants. So private hospital can apply those 3 schemes, but the government pay very low rate. Like in the slide show that $52 per person per year, something like that. It's very low for every disease. So private healthcare need to join the insurance scheme for the government insurance scheme, but they have to control all the costs. And if they, for my hospital, we joined the program for few. We have 15 hospitals. We joined only 2 hospitals that joined all the 3 government insurance. The price is quite low. We need to control the cost. We control the cost is similar to Mitra Pambun that we have the single chair service for 15 hospitals, and we control all the purchasing, we control all the costs, and important things is we use the IT like Mitra as well to control all the costs and look at the management of all the hospitals. So it's no way that in the future private hospital need to join government insurance scheme more and more. So we need to prepare all of our hospital to reduce the cost.
Thank you, Dr. Satit. Let me also turn to Kunpo from an investor perspective. So Kunpo, how can private investors address the demand-supply gap in public healthcare? And I guess, also what are your thoughts on the latest development making this space more exciting and sustainable for investors?
Yeah. So I'll address the second question first. So fully agree with what Dr. Satit and Dr. Festus has mentioned. And to bring the context to Southeast Asia, it's not just Indonesia or Thailand we are seeing developments in the social insurance universal healthcare scheme, but we also see that in the Philippines. So despite all the challenges you see on the headline, few health coverage has increased to 94%. And there's significant increase in tariff that was seen as well. In Vietnam, the social insurance scheme has increased to 93%. So I think there's a general increased awareness about welfare, especially after COVID. And this is also a very sensitive topic in elections. So politicians understand, the government understands it's a basic right. And this is an important development because as the social insurance scheme expands, that increased the affordability for patients and also increase the coverage for patients. That is where we feel that private healthcare has a role to play. So on your first question, I think to target directly, so where exactly is the supply gap? Where exactly is the demand that's coming from? There are probably three main areas. The first one is that public hospitals are mostly concentrated in the major cities. So most of these are teaching hospitals. As we look into different countries of our coverage, you will see that, yes, there is good hospitals, but they're all concentrated in the major cities. That's where we also, through our landscaping, found about MPH. Because in Indonesia, actually you'll be surprised that there are 27 cities, there are more than 500,000 population. And most of this population doesn't get served their basic healthcare needs. Yes, there's primary healthcare, but if you talk about hospitals, if you talk about COE specialties, they have to travel to Jakarta for the public hospitals, and there's a huge waiting line. So that's the first one. The second one, linked to the first one, is the lack of specialties. So I think that is where Dr. Satit mentioned that private healthcare can partner with public hospitals. So the public hospitals may not have the top equipments, may not have the space for the top surgeons to perform the surgery. That's where the spillover can come to the private hospital. So the third one is on patient experience. So we have seen a lot of, based on our coverage, we have seen a lot of private hospitals are able to get the spillover crowd from public hospital just because of patient experience. So the adoption of technology, so the app, the information received, getting the right knowledge, or selecting the right treatment that you have, and just basic good experience that you have in private healthcare. That's where we think that private healthcare can play by leveraging the developments of social insurance scheme. That's where, but I think the key thing also is what kind of business model that we can play. Because what they have mentioned is, can you make profits with the capped tariff, with the restriction that you have placed, and with decreased affordability of the patients?
Thanks, Kunpo. I guess, with social insurance coverage advancing, with government support strengthening, and the demand for quality care intensifying, right? So private healthcare can bridge the gap between demand and public healthcare limitation. But to turn that vision into a reality, we must navigate the execution challenges that lie ahead. Maybe for this, let me turn to you, Kunpo, again. For this topic around the execution challenges. So Kunpo, what do you think are the pressing challenges in delivering quality healthcare to the socially insured populations?
So maybe putting the investor lens, when we look at hospital, there are basically three things, right? One is revenue, one is margin, and one is cash flow. So challenges can be looked into these three areas as well. So the first one, revenue. So I think there's no doubt that there is immense amount of demand in terms of volume that you can serve in healthcare for the masses. The problem with revenue is on the price. So for instance, in Indonesia, BPJS, which is the social insurance scheme, they will pay on average $38 US per visit. That is 1/6 of a private patient, what they will pay. So whether with that bill size, can you still make the same kind of profit margins? So that's the second thing, cost. So what kind of drugs that you use that can give quality healthcare, your control systems, your procurement, your centralized process. Of course, the third one is on the cash flow. So, we all have a stereotype that getting revenue from government bodies, getting payment from government bodies could be difficult. and that is no different in this segment as well. So the relationship with the local authorities, whether you file the right claims, whether there's abuse of the systems, all this will have to come in place. That's why, to summarize, is the process, the system, your cost controls that can make the business a viable business.
Thanks, Kunpo. I think with not only that you're highlighting the challenges, but you're also pointing out what is the right strategy and also the business model, right? So hospitals can overcome challenges and tap into a vast market with soaring demand and all of that. But next, and as you discussed earlier, we touched about the business model, right? Maybe let me just start that with Dr. Festus and Dr. Satit. Maybe Dr. Satit first, if you could. How do your hospitals attract a stream of patients from the surrounding healthcare facilities or providers?
In every hospital that we have, the 15 hospitals that we have, we try to work closely with the healthcare around the community, such as big hospital in that province, small hospital, clinics, even the drugstore and the insurance. So we combine all that healthcare community together and work closely with them. We have the team that go to visit them very often. We have to get the patient from them if they know us and know our services. We will get they will refer the patient to us, and then we will have the technology that send the patient tracking to them real time. We will send the patient back to their original place. And then we have the good relationship with them. Sometimes we have the continuous education to all the doctor and nurse around, even the joint program with the big hospital around in that province. So we use community to send the patient into our hospital.
What about you, Dr. Festus? It sounds very similar to our own BPJS system as well in the referral process.
Yes. In fact, the BPJS needs referral from the local clinic or from Puskesmas, the government clinic. But the most important thing is there is a patient choice still. They can choose. So better you choose Mitra Plumbon or the local hospital, or we call it RSUD, the local governmental hospital. So we have to be better, much better, and to be their option, to be their chosen option. Imagine they are not taking out of their money. They are coming for free. They have many options. They have to choose us. How can we get chosen? By giving the best quality. So I'm very agree with Dr. Satit. Quality, cost control is very important in this business model. But how can you deliver the quality? The quality is what is the purpose of people coming to a hospital? To get cured. So in our hospital, we have a KPI to the doctors. So how can you treat the patient? How is your readmission rate? How is your surgical site infection rate? So it's all KPI about the quality. How about the waiting time? How easy you access to our hospital through technology. So it makes us the chosen one from the patients. In fact, of course, the local clinic, the local Puskesmas also have an access, and it can be done through the technology.
I think Dr. Satit and Dr. Festus. I can't agree more with what you just said. One of the issue with this hybrid model, the public and private partnership, as highlighted in my previous slides, where there is a low, not only low bed counts but also low doctor counts, right? So as you are, going into a tier 2 and tier 3 cities to service all this socially insured population, how do you attract and retain top doctors in a highly competitive market?
Yes. So retaining doctors is, first of all, I have to ask for myself. I'm a neurosurgeon. Would you like to join MPH with many terms, conditions, remuneration, like the career development? We send the doctors to do a fellowship, to the subspecialty programs. And after they did the training, we provide the best and the most suitable equipment. Because sometimes the suitable equipment is not always the most expensive, but the one that can help the doctors to implement their knowledge and their training. So that can be, we can offer them many things like a scholarship, fellowship, and even, of course, the remuneration. I can say like our proportion of remuneration is one of the biggest proportion to the doctors. So it attracts the doctors and they retain and together with us.
And I guess, in the context of the new bill, the omnibus law, the changes, that the reform does help you in that case, Dr. Festus. But in Thailand, Dr. Satit, the situation is slightly different, as we understand that the public teaching hospitals and a lot of Thai doctors, they have a very strong affinity to public teaching hospitals because to them it's not just about money, but it's all about prestige, right? And then a lot of these public teaching hospitals, they will fall under the civil servant medical benefits, and they will cover not only yourself, your family, but also your immediate families, right? So what is your take on attracting and retaining top doctors?
For the full-time, we have full-time and part-time. For the full-time, is like Dr. Fetus said, remuneration, the salary and the bonus and the minimum guarantee. We have to pay them at the high minimum guarantee. If we say like 90% percentile that we pay for the doctor. But for the full-time, we have the equipment. The doctor may need the equipment and they don't have in the government hospital. We invest in the equipment. In each province, we have to choose which province lack of those, which equipment. So we invest in equipment and we bring them. They cannot come here full-time because they want the benefit of civil servant. So they can work as a part-time and it's a win-win situation. They can come here, they can work in the government hospital. But our strategy, we open the hospital in the province that never have the private hospital before. That's the strategy. So it's many of our hospital is the first private hospital in that province. So doctors from other province can come back to their birthplace. Nurse and other staff can come back to the birthplace where they don't have the place that they can work before. So that's the easy one that people want to come back, and we can hire them. We can give them the minimum guarantee, and they're still with us. Even if we can invest in the equipment, that's the best benefit for those doctors.
Thank you.
I would just add that, whenever we do diligence on hospital, if there's an over-reliance on star doctors, then it's a red flag for us as well. So I think in this business model, the good thing is that the volume is there, and doctors are also attracted by having the opportunity to operate more. And because of the commission structure, because of the volume, even though the price is low, that still makes sense on a monetary basis. But to be honest, doctors are also not all about dollars and cents. They are emotional people, as we found out. So I think the beauty of and also one other development which is very positive for this kind of business model is the advancements of the medical equipment. So many of the times we see that even the average junior doctors are able to perform the required surgeries because of the help of the medical equipments.
That's a great point, Kunpo. Thank you. I think moving on to the next questions that I have is around efficiency, right? I think Dr. Satit, Dr. Festus, and I think Kunpo, you mentioned around that point. So tell us a little bit in terms of how you use technology, how do you use AI, what tech solution do you invest, right, to increase efficiency?
So talking about efficiency, of course, there are the number one is technology adoption. Like how can you use the technology to, for example, easy, one bed, you need 3 employees. But using technology, our standard now is 1 bed to 2 employees. So it saves a lot. Yeah. What technology? Many. The AI, the integration of the medical record, the waiting time, the capsule for delivering drugs, and many, many more. So efficiency, you should play with the time, yeah. Maybe you also have to see our doctors, usually one doctor can serve 100 patients a day. So it must be very fast. You have to do anamnesis, diagnosis, and you have to see the medical record in very, very fast, yeah, and integrate it. So it can save lots of time. And also, efficiency, don't forget about the technology. A few years ago, maybe you do scanning, it takes 1 hour, but nowadays MRI scan can be done in 10 minutes. So it's all about efficiency. Efficiency is very related to technology. And how can you adopt it? Sometimes technology maybe seems to be very expensive, but once you adopt it correctly, you save a lot.
Dr.
Yeah.
Sati?
For me, the start from the beginning, we set up the shared service, which is the engine that run the hospital's efficiency. We have the single purchasing, we have the single EMR, we have a single management that control everything, and we delegate work to the routine work to the hospital director. So if we have like IT system, we buy in one time, we use for all 15, 20, 30 hospitals in one price. So we save like 10 times, 20 times of those repeated costs. So that's the efficiency. The important things, like Dr. Fetu said, we have one team to control, to manage. We have the dashboard, business intelligence can do the dashboard, marketing dashboard, HR dashboard, doctor dashboard, and so on and so on. So yeah, we create those shared service, the central engine to control the efficiency of the hospitals.
Thank you, Dr. Sati. I think we're running out of time, and maybe as we're coming to a close, let me pose these questions to you, Dr. Festus, right? As you and your mom, Ibu Saraswati, were looking to further build on the legacy and expand, what were you looking for in a partner like Growthium?
I think the best words to describe is acceleration. Since we know the market is huge and we have a model that is scalable, so we need something that support us in not only for the financial or fundings, but also adding our values, like how to be more efficient, how you increase the patient comfortness, increase the quality care, and we can find it in our partnership. And don't forget that we will run fast. Like my parents built this hospital groups, 1,000 beds in 20 years. But I asked my mom, let's make 1,000 beds in 2 years, not 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you. As I conclude, Mr. Amit Kunal, any last questions? Okay. With that, I really want to thank you, the audience, for listening. I know it's getting late, and I want to thank the panelists for sharing their views with all of us, this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
So thank you all for coming. So thank you everyone for coming, and apologies for running 20 minutes late, but we tried to do the best. Our intention, as you could see, was to have a session which could even form the framework of your diligence once you look at a staple company or a healthcare company. AI and all, we are still learning, so we don't want to profess things that we don't know. We are still in that early stage of understanding, but it is also less applicable in our region. Kusnadi's last question was, suppose Dr. Festus for us to say a little bit more good things about Growthium. So we'll continue to work harder and ask you the same question next time. Thank you all of you for spending time with us. Much appreciated. We put on here in our throughout the session on what we have done and what we intend to do. We hope you can evaluate us again in the next AGM, saying, hey, you said this, how come your growth rate is lower? That will hopefully keep us on task and better. But thank you again, and couldn't have reached here where we are without all your support. Much appreciated. Want me to hold one more panel?